I'm out by the pump house because I have a filter to change, and that's what this video's out about. Thanks for tuning in. Jeff Arizona Hot Homestead. Today I got a filter to change in my pump house. So let me take you along. I actually got started and I'm like, oh man, I should be doing the video. So you missed the very beginning, but I'll show you the basic. So on this smart water filter by GE, I have it covered up. Here's the model number I use. So I use a bucket here to kind of catch all the water. This is the tool to loosen it. What I have on this is, kind of excuse some of my mess, but I've got a valve there to control the water. Then I have a valve over here that controls the water. I turned off the water pump, so the power is off to the water pump. I have a valve here that's more of just a little relief thing, although it's capped off. This one here is open, and I opened up the airway there, and I did the same thing with this one. So that helps reduce some of the pressure on this so it doesn't spray out. It also has a pressure release up here too, which makes it easier to loosen this. Now one thing I noticed when I was loosening this was that it was difficult. So this whole mechanism, this whole piping here was moving around. So I positioned this so that it was right here, so I could put one hand over here and then one here, and I kind of just brought them together, and that way it kept it from moving on me, because I was afraid if I put too much pressure on these joints and stuff, it will crack a joint or something. And then I got a bucket here just to catch all my water. This here's my heat tape, and then I'll show you what it all put together. I was taking it apart now. I'm like, hey, maybe I should do a video. This little piece here goes on that, and I'll show that here when I put it all back together. I started taking it apart now. I'm like, you know what? I need to do a video on this. So here's the filter that I'll be using. This is just pretty much a Sediment filter. It's not like a carbon filter, but it helps take care of all the other sediment. So let me go ahead and pull this out of here. It's full of water right now. The bucket caught a little bit of it. So it may be hard to tell, but on this filter it is a little on the green side. So it looks like some growth of algae or stuff was building up in here. I had my water tested a few months ago and it was clean. So what I'm going to do, obviously I will throw this guy away and merely just grime up here. What I'm going to do too is I'm going to take some of that hydrogen peroxide that I have, that food grade, and we're just going to kind of put a little bit in there, kind of clean it out a little bit. Not slimy, so that's good. Not slimy at all. So we'll do that. Kind of clean that out a little bit, put the filter in. I've added some of that foil tape on here that just kind of helps keep the all this electrical tape here, this black tape. That's when I go to put the heat tape on it. This foil tape is what you want to use between heat tape and the plastic, so it doesn't dry out the plastic. So, and then it also helps dissipate the heat too. So, and then all this tape here is just when I've had the heat tape on there. I've used electrical tape to put on there, and I've done it a few times, so I keep having to retape it and all that. But anyhow, that kind of helps keep it kind of clean out. What's good about that hydrogen peroxide when I go to clean stuff with it, first off, I gotta wear gloves, but it doesn't do any harm to rubber. Like chlorine will destroy this rubber, but not hydrogen peroxide. So, alright, so let's go ahead and this is the hydrogen peroxide that I'm using. Now, obviously, I'm no expert at anything, so there's a website on there. So do do your own research on this, but I use this to sanitize my water. And so far with water testing and all that, and I did a video on this too, the results have been positive. So positive for health, not positive for like bacteria. Alright, so this is all tightened. I'm not going to do this this is the heat tape. See how it goes around. Then I'll clean this up so it makes better contact and retape this. I put a little bit of that hydrogen peroxide. I opened that up and put some down in there. I did the same thing with there. But I've got them shut off now. I've got that guy opened. I got this guy open. I got power to the water pump. And I ran the water and I'm not seeing any leaks at all. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to let this sit for a couple of days before I put this Reflectix on. But basically this is going to go like this, and then this one piece just kind of comes over and I tape it on, and that's what holds it. That just gives me some added insulation. The Reflectix helps maintain the heat inside and keep the cold from getting to it, or at least helps. And as you can tell, this is like 3/4 inch pipe, and look how thick I've got that. You can tell on my insulation I've got some fiberglass wrapped around, then I use some radiant Reflectix, I call it radiant barrier, and then I got some pipe on top of it. And the fact that fiberglass stuff is this. So here's what I've used on my pipes is I've got this pipe insulation here. You can get a better view of it right there. And then what I've done is I've used basically duct tape and this foil tape, although it didn't stick to this here very well. But I'll use the foil tape and duct tape, and I'll even use this rubber tape, this rubber insulation tape, and I'll use that because you can see that's what this is here. And I'll use that to kind of help hold stuff together. Like I got a piece right here. I got a bunch of pieces around here. It's just a hodgepodge deal. I did it here because my wrap wasn't big enough. So this is regular foam pipe wrap. Put around this. Then I put this to kind of fill in the gap. Here's my duct tape. So the object is I make the pipe as thick as I can make it with all this stuff, and there's heat tape that's running up along the underside, and I did it on the underside of this whole thing. I have cut in the past, what I've done is I've had to, in a different setup I had to cut into it, and when I went to feel inside, because I had a leak at the time, and so in one of my joints, so I cut it open, and man, it was warm in there. So it definitely traps in the heat pretty nicely. I should do this, they say you should do it about every 6 months, but because I don't go through a lot of water, I basically try to do it once a year. So normally I try to do it about April, May. Well, here it is July and I finally did it. So anyhow, that's it, just changing the filter. Thanks for watching. See you, bye, have fun.